Almost every federal owned C of O is subject to what you call regularization. They have to, quote unquote, perfect their documents with Lagos State government because the land is in Lagos State government and all that. Now, if you buy FHA properties and everything nowadays, you will go to an outside land registry to perfect. No more federal land registry. Federal land registry right now is only keeping in custody only the documents it has before. No new documents can be created again by the federal land registry. Um, that's a little bit technical, so please ignore me. I'm just trying to settle the fact that they are federal CFOs. It's not like any federal CFO you see is fake. No, they are federal CFOs. It just was not meant to be that time. But democracy brings a lot of new thinking in the way things are supposed to be. Um, the certificate of occupancy has clauses in it because most of the time, whenever a government has a scheme, the government has a scheme, it wants you to build within a certain time. It has a rental value, what it or what it must charge. It tells you your rental value per annum or what they used to call ground rent. It also has it has clauses. Of course, the consent clause, you must not sell without telling the government. You must actually, technically speaking, the person that applies for governor's consent is not the buyer, it's the seller. The law says that the seller must notify the governor of that sale.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so if I have a land that has a CO
yeah,
and I want to sell it,
whether it's a COO or any titled land and you want to sell it, right? The land use act says that you will notify the governor of that sale. So that governor's consent clause is supposed to be you applying. But because of the way the Nigerians are, you have sold and have sold, they don't want anything again to do with it. It's normally the person that buys, of course, it's in their own interest that goes to do all that process of governor's consent to now have their registered deed of assignment or registered deed of surface. Now, point to note, every COO is a long lease.
it's a long.
Yeah. The government doesn't give land outright anymore. They might have done so before, the days of before the land user came into be, the days of the predecessor to the COO, the land certificate. Most places that have land certificates, there was no time limit. But every COO has a time limit depending on what the COO's use is for. So you will now have classifications under COOs. You have agricultural COOs. So that COO is not, yes, it's a COO, it's a certificate of occupancy recognizing the interest of a person or individuals or entity over land in a particular area. But the use of that COO strictly will be for agricultural purpose. If the person wants to start doing anything different, the person has to go back to the issue of the COO because actually it's not the land registry now, it's the agricultural board that issues agricultural COOs. But of course, all that is still done in conjunction of land as you own. Technically speaking, there is no Ministry of Lands. Everything land is under the office of the governor of the state. Let me use Lagos State as an example. You have the Department of Land Services. You have a PS of lands. You don't have a commissioner for lands. Everything land is under the governor. The surveyor general's office is still under the governor. PS of lands is under the governor. The director of land services is under the PS. The director of regularization is under the PS. The executive secretary and PS are the main movers and shakers of lands as we know it. The land registry is under the PS. Well, the PS is under the government.
So everything related to land
Is okay. I'm using Lagos so purely. It might vary in some other states, but it's neither here nor there. Because the fact that the governor is the custodian of everything land, they may create a ministry of lands in some other states. I'm using Lagos as an example. create industrial plants. Now, if the agricultural COO needs to be changed, they have to go back to the agricultural development board or the agricultural office to change it, apply for a change of use and all that. Of course, land is unique in the sense that it's an entity that revolves with time. If that area is a lot of development and it will look weird for a farm to be there. A case in point is the Ogba Ijayi area of Lagos State, for instance, Okoba. All those areas were used for agriculture for so long, but when development kept coming there, Ne- Lagos State government built estates in a lot of the places it was using for um, large scale agricultural farming and all that and all that. Built estates there. They have Ijai Medium Housing Estate Phase 1, 2, 3, 4, Ijai Dairy Farm Estate. All those areas were turned to estates. Government had land there. But because there was a need for mass housing, government can change its mind at any given time. Now, you have COOs that are strictly for industrial purposes. I don't know if you've heard of the Ikeja industrial area.
Yes.
Everybody there has a COO that is industrial, and it doesn't go more than 25, 50 years. Ikorodu industrial, 25 years. Most of their COOs are 25 years. The government did not give them 99-year COOs like it gives for residential areas. And still, if you want to do anything, nobody's anyway. I find it weird for anybody to open their mouth and say they want to convert an industrial complex to. It means the whole industrial area must have been shut down first before they convert to residential.
That's not really possible though.
Well, as long as maybe if all the industries decide to pack up at the same time.
It's not really possible.
So for those that have agreed COOs, I need to mention the fact that the planning law, right, is which is one of the contents of you can't build on more than 25% of your agricultural COO. So whatever you are building must be part of your agricultural setup. And even if you are building housing, that's why if you look at farms in the likes of the UK, US, Holland, and other developed nations, you will see that the farming settlement is like in one corner, one small, and then they have one like 200 hectares, and they don't have proper more than maybe 20 houses in the whole 200 hectares because you're not supposed to build on more than 25 acres and 25% rather of the land value you have. And you can have other non-residential buildings, yes. E.g., you want to do maybe a building where you milk your cows, maybe a covered shed for the poultry and all those, or your piggery or whatever. You can have those buildings. They are purposely for agricultural purpose. You are not in violation of any planning or usage laws for the COO. I've mentioned commercial COOs, I've mentioned agricultural. The general COO is residential. That one is 99 years. The commercial COO, now, the commercial is using not that it's industrial. The commercial COO most of the time is 25, 50 years because that area is deemed to be commercial by the state. So I would just give everybody case in point, Akin Adeshola Street in Victoria Island. That stretch, just up to around Adeola, is a commercial area. Every property facing that road, Akin Adeshola, from the bridge, has 50 years here old, not more than. Then some other places, though not commercially zoned, but because maybe it's a tourism area and they're like by the waterside, because they don't give them more than 50 years. And the only reason why the government does that is so that they can come back to renew their COOs. It's just a way of making money. It's not like the government will not give you a CO, it's giving you a COO. You just pay a renewal fee every 50 years. For commercial areas, 25 years. Some industrial areas, 25. Most industrial area, all those industrial, Oshodi Solo industrial area, Amod industrial scheme, Keja, Ilukweju industrial. It could do 25 years. Industries are supposed to be operating on high cash flow. So government wants a piece of data. That's why it's so short. Agriculture too is supposed to have cash flow. That's why most agricultural COOs are so short. It's a tax, basically. Just that we collect the tax relating to the renewal of the COO every 25 years. Now, I mentioned the date of assignment, I mentioned the COO, and I've mentioned the fact that the COO is a long lease.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to use an example, a specific example. I'm going to mention the company name. They and some other companies that are into mass land schemes in Lagos State, none of them issues you an assignment. They issue you a sublease. Why? Because the COO is direct to them, right? And the COO in its true form is a lease, a long lease. So if they are going to issue any documents with someone buying from them, they will do a sublease. So I will mention HFP. HFP is the owner of the COO for Victoria Garden City. They are the JV partner for Mayfair, which is just near us here. So everybody in those two estates that I've mentioned are getting deeds of sublease. Now, every government built estate in Lagos State, I happen to live in one, has a deed of sublease. Because the government knows that it's a COO it has covering the whole land. They've now built several units and they are giving each and every one of us a deed of sublease. So the deed of sublease will now be perfect title when you have done all the necessary things to register it with the government. It now becomes a registered deed of sublease. And then it's also perfect title. You can carry it anywhere. The registration is what perfects is the final stage of titling. So once it's registered, it's perfect title. That is in the most legal sense of it, it is perfect. So the deed of sublease is still title, but it's where I now wanted to point out this major thing. In an assignment, you are extinguishing your right. In a deed of sublease, just like the COO, right? The deed of sublease has what you call a right of reversion. That is to revert something back to its original state. And that is just saying, okay, I'm Lagos State government. I'm giving HFP or I'm giving Omobolaji this COO. But in 99 years' time, Lagos State will be around. Bolaji may or may not be around. So her children or whoever she assumes to must still come back to meet me to renew that COO because after 99 years it ceases to exist. So the renewal fees I'll collect. And I say, that one is letter now. I'm not going to issue that certificate of occupancy. You have hereby renewed your certificate of occupancy for another 99 years.
So it means that the timing starts from where the first, let me say, not the first, where maybe a particular buyer or owner registers.
That is
Or
if the
perfect the
place has
title.
no title before.
Yes.
Yes, the timing will start with the COO that is created first will
First.
bear that year. And probably most of the time, COOs are made to start at the beginning of every year, 1st of January 2024. Sometimes, it's not all the time and everything. So it will just start from that year 2024 and all that. So in 21, 23, that should be 99 years from now. 100 years from now will be 21, 24.
Yes.
So 99 years from now will be 21, 23, December 31, 21, 23. That COO expires. All right. So that year for 2023, 21, 23 is when the whoever is the real owner there and then should go and renew. You understand? All he needs to do is do a letter and mention that title document that he's renewing. Now, the right of reversion is what a sublessor now. So there's a lease. Lagos State can be said to be the lessor. The party, Bolaji, is the lessee. Now, Bolaji is